Good morning, afternoon, evening or night, whenever you're watching this, welcome. It is a beautiful summer early evening here, and I am in a place that is new to me. I have known about it for about 6 months, and yet this is only my first visit. It wasn't in my plans for today to visit here, but I was mudlarking this afternoon at a different site, and I met another mudlarker. There she is, over there, and she offered to show this site. I'm grateful. If I had come on my own, I might not have realized the scale of this site, or might have missed it altogether. Much of it is currently hidden by tall grass and thistles. Yes, not sure if that's a couple dancing or cavorting. And my goodness, there are a lot of jars here, stoneware and rich pottery, jam and marmalade jars. And it is also quite blustery, so I'm afraid there's going to be a fair amount of wind noise to contend with. That looks worth investigating. It's a cake stand. Quite a nice piece of glass really, but it's hard to see what it could become, and it's quite large. I'll leave it and have a look around. Well, I got 2 bottles off that first spoil pile, both plain but both really nice condition glass and wonderfully vibrant colours. Let's see what the next spoil pile might have, and this is the one that Diane was on while I was filming my intro, so going to try and see what she might have missed, or didn't want that I might. Wow, I guess it might be the sunlight, it's a bit golden, and maybe that's making the colours seem more vibrant than at most other dump sites I know. There is some glass sickness here, but it's not on every bottle, and I think I'm going to end up having a bit of a bottle day here. Yeah, that's nice, for quiet, not particularly the small vase. And it is a small pit, so the filming and finding possibilities are quickly exhausted. Always a welcome find, a marble. Marble from a quad bottle, but marble nonetheless. I'm not sure if it was left on the rim by the bottle digger, or missed. Now, where's the exit gone? Pretty much choosing a direction at random, and there's a gap in the growth of the grass, and it does make sense for bottle diggers to dig their holes fairly near to landmarks so they can find them again, and on a site like this an overhead power line pole can be that. Now, is there going to be anything I want? Looking a lot sparser than the holes further down the hill. Yeah, not seeing anything at all that I even want to take a closer look at. Bit of plastic which the wind here could easily carry off and drop in the nearby stream. Looks like a test pit that didn't find enough to carry on. So, sideways or forwards? Who cares, I'm going to meander all over. The feature of this site is that it's going to be developed, at least it has planning permission for development, and the company that's planning to develop it has sporadically bulldozed the bottle digger holes. So says the person who first told me about this site. The hole that he had recently dug and was hoping to expand was one such hole. Might have been this one. And just because the hole is filled in doesn't mean that everything is back in the ground. A Apparently the digging stretches past that pile onto the big tree, and I don't know how much of the landscape has been changed by bulldozers, but the current shape looks more like the line of a stream than anything else. I know there isn't a stream there now, but that doesn't mean there wasn't one once that was used as a convenient dumping site. Definitely does look like the best results digging are happening in a thin line that looks very much like a stream. That doesn't mean that that's everywhere worth digging. It might be just how the dumping started. Probably worth checking into the history of the site. A nice emerald green. Is it going to be intact? Oh yes, no chips or cracks. Probably left because it's screw top, but I don't mind when the colour is the main attraction. Any bottle diggers watching, have you ever found an intact one of these Victorian ceramic water filters? I'd love to find an intact one. I've just found this brass disc, which excitingly has words under the crust. No chance of knowing what it says till it's scrubbed and electrolyzed and maybe soaked in vinegar. Same with the maker's details on this little button. The kindness that this soil shows towards glass does not seem to extend to brass. Big bottle. Not really a case gin shape, but perhaps a case whiskey bottle. And there's some gorgeous swirls in the glass. I'm taking it. Walker's Kilmarnock whiskey, as I thought. Now anything else drawing my eye. So onwards to other piles, other holes, other things to find. Between the nearby dual carriageway and the wind, it's probably one of the noisiest sites I've been on. Even the one earlier today wasn't quite so loud, and that had chainsaws and strimmers running just across the river. Even the simple sauce bottle here has frankly wonderful colouring. And is that a little bottle stopper? It is. Sweet and tiny little thing, about 2/3 the size of the common ones. A bit of brass. The clip that would hold a stair rod in place now seems a bit of an archaic concept. Most stair carpets are just nailed in place now through a cushion of underlay. There's a piece of a nice aqua poison bottle. How much more is missing? About an inch. A sticking back together attempt would be a bit pointless, missing so much. Little panel bottle. Think it held blacking, and indeed still does. Not sure if that's something I want to tackle. That nice amber bottle is missing the bottom. Looks like an Eiffel Tower, lemonade or fruit juice. Which is it gonna be? It's a fruit juice, and it's got a nice iridescence. Looks to be all over. I do have enough of these to start leaving them, but when one comes along with a nice iridescence, the one in this style I already have gets taken out and left in ruined buildings for other explorers to find. Who would like me to actually film putting some bottles in such a place that anyone who knows my local area might be able to find? I must admit, this is the first of this type of site that I visited. I mean, grassland with barely any shade from trees or shelter from the wind. Most of the ones I know are next to rivers and streams in steep little valleys and have woodland growing out of them. I'm actually quite limited in the number of sites I know, and I know most people guard their locations, but if anyone wanted to share and maybe arrange a meet-up, I'd certainly be interested. I can abide by other people's rules and not film much scenery, if they can abide by my rule and not film me. This must have been such a heartbreaker for whoever dug it, a hobnailed, herringboned, indented, not to be taken. This is the first half of one I've seen. A beer bottle with the stopper still in it, Fred Anderton. Not especially special, but pretty good condition. I think I'll take it. Can you see the thing that has caught my eye? Of course, it's the brass. I think it's something like a sink filter to stop big things going down. And... okay, yeah, I'll pick up the bottle stopper too. It's clear glass, got a bit of a crack, and it's a Fletcher's of Selby. I'll take it. The more I explore, the fewer surprises there are, but there are still a few of the fairly common things to be found that I have not found, and this aerated mineral water skittle bottle was one of them. At least, that's what I think it is. Blue and white, flat, good for crafts, taking it. And that looks like an intact Crussian salts. And I don't think that it'll look better cleaned up than it will in the quality of light that we have this evening here, so let's find the sun. Yeah, it's a nice amber. That would have been nice, perhaps one of the most common of coloured poison bottles, but still very nice. And when I've gotten myself a rock tumbler, I might start taking bits like this to smash further and polish into something approximating sea glass. Kind of a cheat, and I think I do prefer going to the seaside and hunting for sea glass, but for a craft project I have planned, it doesn't matter. I see a marble, and I do prefer glass ones, even though this is probably older, but still, I do love finding marbles. Perhaps because I lost mine. Sometimes a simple jar can be beautiful, and sometimes also beautiful, but when I have several of already. So, one goes back on the pile and one goes into the bag, the increasingly heavy bag. Big patch of thistles, which I'm sure I will wade through, but until I see signs of digger holes I can wait for that. Ooh, that there looks worth a closer look. It's, either a trinket box, a pillbox, or a compact. Ha, that's a nice surprise. Enamel panel painting of some poppies and some really nice tooling on the metal. This would have been an expensive thing. Kinda surprising that bottle diggers did not take it. But I guess this hole has been bulldozed, so maybe they never saw it. Looks nice. I found one of a similar style before, but in uranium glass. This one looks more like a René Lalique style of frosted glass. Of course, it's not Lalique, it's mass-produced. I think this is the first copper wire I've found here. And maybe the third vulcanite stopper. Oh, it's a Wright Brothers of Skipton with an anchor on it. Think that might be something that Adam Gates might want. A young YouTubing mudlarker. His videos are getting better and better. Keeps changing his channel name, but if you search Adam Gates Mudlarking, you will find him. And if you're watching Adam and you want a vulcanite stopper with an anchor on it, let me know and I'll send it you. I do like bird watching, it's very calming. Not that I wasn't calm already. Anyway, I'm not a twitcher, I don't want to record all my sightings of birds and collect them. I just want to delight in seeing them and sometimes film them. Did film some ducks in my garden recently, a mother and lots of little ducklings who'd like to see. Oh, that is coming home with me. Little green melted bottle. And it's surprising because I've not seen much evidence of rubbish burning here, so I've got to assume that this was once chucked into the home fire and kinda survived that, and then was thrown into a cart and dumped here, buried for about 100 years, dug up, survived the vagaries and extremities of weather, and hopefully it'll survive the trip home with me too. I think it might become a gift item for my friend Phil, who really does appreciate melted bottles and jars. It's a rugby ball. Came from the pitch over there. Gonna pitch it back over there. Not used to throwing that shaped ball and did not get a good spin, so it spun in the wrong direction. Oh well. There's another one. Not getting the hang of it yet. Has a crack, so no good to cut down. This one, it's plain, but the colour is lovely. And the condition, and did I mention the colour? It's one of the nicest examples of a plain bottle I've found in quite a while. Oh, that's a big bottle, a dark green, but if I can find the light and hold it up to it, the light might show how lovely it is. It's a lustrous, dark emerald colour. Not sure what, if anything, I can do with it, but I like it, and I'll take it. Oh wow, looking a little worn and worse for wear, but still the largest cowrie shell I've ever seen on a dump site. And this, I think, is a little brass hinge. I see a little glass bottle stopper. Stands out, doesn't it? I think it will clean up quite nicely, and it looks to be in really nice condition. If only all old dump sites treated glass this kindly, then I'd be far more keen on taking old bottles home. Interesting, groundwater. What does the stream that I believe was diverted still want to exist here? This is definitely on the line of it. A boat ink, missing the top, but I do so like the effect of light shining through the glass of these, that I think I'll take it anyway, and maybe make something with them. Another bottle dig a hole and another spoil pile. About 50% of them don't really have anything of interest left. This one looks better. And finally, the first piece of clay pipe I've seen on this entire site. I wasn't really thinking about it, but it is unusually sparse of them. A piece of an A.S.M R, some lovely glass, but also some very sharp edges. I'll leave it. And this one, I've only found 2 of the 2 tablespoons bottles before, and this third one, do I really need it? It is in good condition. It is probably about 10 times rarer than the usual tablespoons bottles. I will carry it around for the time being, and I will have to make some choices before I leave, because my bag is getting awful heavy. Not all that interesting, it's just that the glaze is peeling off. That looks like an Eiffel Tower. It was fruit juice last time. Will it be the same, or a lemonade? It's a lemonade, and again it seems to have a full bottle iridescent thing going on. Nice. It can replace the one I already have, which has a little bit of the less appealing type of glass sickness. Okay, onwards. Sweet little earthenware blacking pot. Ah, and that's why it was left behind, and why I shall leave it too. I have too many other repair projects to be going on with. Just found this, and I'm not sure really if it's a smoking pipe bowl, a bubble pipe bowl. Think it's too small to have been an ear trumpet. Apparently Diane found this too and left it. And a melted mass of a poison bottle. Actually only about a quarter of a poison bottle. I'll leave it. That cod bottle is not complete, missing the very top and the marble. Okay, that's quite enough looking down for the time being. It might be a relatively flat site, devoid of interesting viewpoints and filming angles, but the sky looks likely to be wearing a pretty good sunset soon. I see another marble, and isn't it a marvel that such a marble, so clearly visible and lying on the surface, has not already been taken? Who doesn't like finding marbles, even clay ones, that are perhaps a little less appealing than glass? I still do, no matter how many marbles I find. A pinkish, purplish pair of legs. Not much left of this strangely coloured figurine, and I don't know if there's anything much that I can envisage doing with this, so yeah, I think I'm going to leave it. Another Skittle bottle, and it's intact and looking surprisingly modern. Doesn't really look all that vintage, despite knowing that it is, and they don't make them like this anymore. Or is that just me, finding only the second Skittle bottle I think I've ever found, and already jaded to the point I'm looking to inject excuses so I don't have to take this one if I so choose when I'm shedding some of the weight in my bag before leaving? Okay, I hear the shouting at the screen of people telling me to take all of these. Hasn't happened yet. I won't get around to releasing this video for months, maybe even a year, and yet it's echoing backwards through time, across oceans and mountains, through the atmosphere and directly into my imagination. And instead of bowing to such pressure, I will take the corroded remains of some brass, because can't please everyone, but can at least sometimes do what I please. Who goes bottle digging and leaves a boot behind? I see a knife blade, something like a palette knife, quite corroded, or rather like the butter knife that I used to use as a palette knife, before abandoning even that and painting with any old thing that was lying around. One of the best paintings I ever did was done using a margarine tub lid to both mix and apply the paint. No fancy paintbrushes for me back then. Art school was a lot of fun. Well, hello there, Master Ink. Okay, Diane started talking to me, so I stopped filming, and now I return to this, quite the largest Master Ink bottle I've ever found. I think I'm going to take it. It's intact, no cracks, no chips, really nice condition. Will take a fair bit of cleaning out, but I like it. First clay pipe bowl that I found here. It's a little broken, a little on the plain side, but as a memento of my first visit to this site, I think I'll take it. Oh, and I've torn the wind noise muffler for my camera while changing batteries, so it's a good thing that we're almost back where we started and heading out of the site. Now this, what is it? Guesses on a postcard or in the comments if you want to save on postage. I'm thinking perhaps a hot water bottle or a very strange canteen. Does anyone know? I've just spotted two good things, the first of which is a pipe bowl with figures on the side. I guess Diane spotted the other thing. Oh well, one good thing each, I don't mind. And the pipe ball has, I think, rugby players on this side and football players on the other. I'm happy with that. A mini monolith. Nice condition, but quite a modern looking and plain brick. And this is a nice colour. There's a nice hand-blown wonkiness to it too. Into the overfull bag it goes, and I hope the straps can take the strain. It's really not made to hold this much heavy. Looks to be a jar lid, maybe a pickle jar. Plain but near new condition, a really pleasing piece of glass. Can see it's got a hole where it shouldn't have one, but regardless, this is the most complete boat ink bottle I've found to date, and you can hardly see the hole from most sides. And I think that with this most recently dug spoil pile, we're at the end of our long circuitous meander around this site today, so all that remains is to film a 360-degree panning shot. Roundup time. That site is very different now. In fact, almost every part of where I walked there on that day has now been bulldozed quite thoroughly, ready for building, which I think has now begun. What I didn't know then is that the site is bigger than what I explored. It does indeed follow the former path of a stream that has been diverted, and the bottle diggers have followed it all the way across a neighbouring field. I don't think there was much, if any, sign of those bottle digger holes on that first visit. There were cows in that field then, but now the diggers are quite frantically digging, trying to save everything they can that they actually want, before, as they're expecting to happen, the bulldozers level that field too. Dozens of YouTube videos have now come out of that second field. I don't know of many of the now bulldozed part that I explored in this video, a few from Bottle Digger Tom and a few from Let's Go with the Johnsons, who were there filming with me. I too have filmed in the second field, and those videos will eventually come. No idea when, probably after the final demise of the site. I might go back again and film some more. There's digging happening daily, and with finally managing to get this video out, I freed up an entire storage box from my yet-to-be-constructed video find storage area, so why not? The why nots are numerous. It is not the most photogenic of sites. I don't particularly like filming just pointing the camera at the ground. I like exploring new places, and the wind there is noisy and pollutes the videos. The way forward is, of course, lots of cool finds coming out of the ground, and it's really a lot of fun finding them. Anyway, my most sincere thanks to Diane for accompanying me on that day. I knew there was a site there, but it's a fairly long drive away from home for me, and it would have been quite easy to go there, search, and miss it entirely, if I didn't have a guide. That would have been dispiriting. Plus Diane was pleasant company, who I'd be happy to lark with again any time. The finds from that site. Well, first, and missed out of a film because I didn't have anything to say about it when I picked it up, just grabbed it and dropped it in the bag, is this figurine playing pipes. Northumberland pipes rather than bagpipes. And when I was cleaning it up, a ghoulish craft idea came to me. I'm now planning on making a monster who'll be playing this pipe player like the pipes that this pipe player is playing. I imagine the monster being furry and red. Amongst the bottle stoppers I found one that I thought might be a nice little gift for another YouTubing mudlarker. I have since found a matching bottle to go with it. I know Phil Johnson has already sent Adam a Wright Brothers bottle with the anchor motif on it, but I don't think that one was entirely intact. So Adam, I'm happy to send you the bottle and stopper if you'd like them. I picked up 2 other gift items at that site, a little green melted bottle for Phil Johnson, and the pipe with football players on one side, rugby players on the other. I gave it to Diane because she seemed to absolutely love it, and the gift made her happy. That gift was one of 2 things that I spotted at once. I went for the pipe ball first, and Diane grabbed this, a rather injured but still quite a magnificent lead model of a red deer stag. When I gave the pipe ball to her, she felt like she should give something in return, so I got this, and I like it. I did go a little overboard with the bottles. It's by no means the most bottles I've ever taken, but it's still quite a lot, and who can blame me when the glass is in really nice condition, easy to clean, and the colours are so vibrant. My favourite amongst these is the whiskey bottle. The swirls in the glass are just lovely. I am contemplating using it for a terrarium. Wouldn't be the easiest to set up with such a narrow neck, but it sure would be pretty. It was quite an unusual visit to a dump site really. Not many pottery pieces, not many pieces of clay pipe, and very little copper and brass to be found. However, there were two really quite nice brass things to find. The crusty brass disc with the hint of letters hidden beneath turned out to be something quite interesting. It says Yorkshire Boiler Insurance Company Limited and a big number 1 in the middle. So my preconceptions were influenced by the finds around it, and that made me think the company probably dealt with small-scale domestic boilers, or if not domestic, then the type of boilers that were used to heat water for radiators in moderately large buildings like schools and hospitals. But it seems like the company might have been more concerned with industrial boilers, and was at one time known as Yorkshire Boiler Insurance and Steam Users Company. One of the references I found concerned the explosion of 12 boilers at an ironworks in 1895. The inquest report was quite interesting reading, and I wouldn't say that any of the parties involved came out of it looking good. The insurance companies had all expressed concerns about the externally gas-heated boilers in question, and recommended changes to safer internally heated varieties, but they'd carried on insuring boilers they knew to be unsafe, and the recommendations they'd given were not particularly forceful and given to management who were not engineers. Management didn't grasp the danger that was being described in dry technicalities, only the cost of replacement. Anyway, all I could really find out about this particular company is when some of their employees gave testimony in inquests after boiler explosions. I found a few names, but no office location, nor what the purpose of this disc actually was. Was it riveted to a boiler so that if it exploded the investigators knew who to contact? Or was it just something like a business card, lacking any actual contact details, or some other purpose that I haven't guessed? This powder compact is a lovely thing. Unfortunately the mirror inside was broken and so is the hinge, but it cleaned up nicely and I really do quite like it. I think these two brass things are probably my personal choice for star finds of that outing. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and as usual any appreciation or complaint that you wish to express is greatly appreciated. A big thank you to everyone who has expressed appreciation, whether by just watching my videos, sharing, pressing the like button, subscribing or writing a comment. It all helps. As always, there is a big thank you to all of the kind people who've donated through Ko-fi, Super Chats during premieres and Super Thanks on video pages, the scale of which is quantifiable, but I could never calculate how much difference it has all made. Thank you. Another big thank you to Louise Guerin, who has been a very kind supporter of several Mudlarking channels, mine included, and has recently bought from one of my Amazon wish lists this box of 120 coloured fine liners, which are lovely to work with, and I would have liked to show you a drawing I've done with these, but I'm out of practice and my drawing was not good. I am intent on practicing now because some of my planned craft videos will be better if I can show a sketch plan of what I intend to make at the start. Thank you so much, Louise. This is a lovely gift and they will be often used. And lastly, of course, I thank you all very much for watching, and for now, goodbye.